black holes, the number 88, time travel. These themes repeat over and over again in these films. The snail shell is a spiral, a black hole shape in the newest episode of The Twilight Zone. The snail shell encodes the Fibonacci spiral, or Phi, which looks like the Phoenician letter Q, which represents the eye of the needle, or gates to other worlds. We also know that CERN is laid out like a giant letter Q. And we showed you a few years ago that the exit that we see above doors in all these films and TV shows is the word time backwards. And Emmett Doc Brown of Back to the Future was named that for a reason. Because Emmett, like exit, is time backwards. So this episode is about a camera that when rewound turns back time. So throughout the entire episode they keep passing the 88 sign, which represents time and space. Why? Because the analemma path of the sun and moon, the two heavenly bodies that are used to make calendars, they make a letter or a number 8, and two of those 8s is 88.
Up ahead, exit right on Emmett Avenue. Exit right on Emmett Avenue.
Exit right on Emmett Avenue.
So 88 becomes time and space. Now there's much more to it than that, but as far as we can tell, this is why they love the number 88 when it comes to time travel. And this keeps repeating over and over again in these time travel films. Now the plot continues. No matter how many times the mother rewinds time, she is harassed by the same cop. And I believe the cop represents the copper blue bloods, which are at enmity with God's people. The good versus the bad. This was talked about all the way in the book of Genesis. The prophecy of the enmity between the seeds, the holy bloodline versus the seeds of Satan. And so God's people are trapped in this time loop with the blue bloods. I covered this in a documentary called Blue Bloods. We also saw the same cop versus man scenario in the Terminator film franchise. But of course, they depicted the cop versus the machine. Transhumanism. Now the young man is headed off to college in this episode of The Twilight Zone. And he is cast as a truther type. He defies the cop, refusing to show his ID and so on and so forth, triggering this cop and escalating every situation into violence, where he ends up dead.
Good evening, folks. I'm starting to believe more and more in all that stuff the old folks tell you. All those quiet whispers about those things that our ancestors brought over from the motherland.
So the mother and son essentially become targeted individuals, trapped in repeated exchanges with this same cop over and over again, trapped in a time loop with no escape. And that's really all of us. Now, the episode is full of overtones of racism against the mom and son, and this plays out with every single encounter. But no matter how polite the mom is, she can't de-escalate the situation. Now in the background we see Black Lives Matter posters and stuff like that. And then at the end, they finally escape the time loop by standing up to the white cop, right? Now, here we see the circle of CERN enclose this entire scene. Why do I say that? Because as the mom finally makes her stand against the cop, the circle ironwork is the gate to the school. And so a gate is like a time gate, right? Now, just before this, they arrive at the school via an underground tunnel to try to avoid further interactions with this cop. So that points back to CERN as well, which is buried underground. So I just wanted to review this episode of The Twilight Zone and show you that all the stuff we've been talking about, they're starting to show now repetitively in these new episodes of films regarding time travel. So we weren't mistaken. Take care and be safe, you guys.